but then the new kid on the block, Trey Lance, he's probably. I guess we're just getting
Yeah,
right.
we'll just get right
The,
into it. I
the
mean,
49ers picking third overall, Trey Lance, really the number one, like the most talked about pick of this division. Um, I remember kind of when this happened because I remember the day of when I was watching Pat McAfee of the draft, and he was getting reports that Trey Lance was the pick, not Mac Jones, and we had only
mhm.
talked about Mac Jones really getting this
I,
pick because of our concerns over Trey Lance and just
yeah.
is he actually as good as he is? Um,
Mhm.
so, when do you think we'll expect to see Trey Lance on the field?
Um, if Jimmy G stays healthy, I think we'll see him around week 6,
Week 6
week 6 to 8. Yeah, I
of the 2022 season.
nope 2021. I think Kyle. Man, my voice is just crazy right now. I think Kyle
You need
Shanahan.
some Coors Light.
Yeah, and
Our
I was drinking some
sponsor
ginger ale the other
for
day,
the
and it was
show.
really helping, but I don't have any with me right now. Um, I think Trey Lance will actually pick up that system pretty quick. But also, too, I think Kyle Shanahan's going to run a lot of situations. Like, he's going to run a lot of bootlegs just so Trey Lance doesn't have to process the whole field as fast. And also, too, he'll get him out in space so he can use his legs more. The
Yeah.
only thing that worries me is just Trey Lance is going to have to play 17 games this year, and he's only played 17 games in his whole college career. So, the wear and tear I think he's going to take in this season is going to be like no other that he's ever experienced. And
Uh,
I think he'll be better for it, but I don't know.
well, and that's to me, I think the smallest concern is the wear and tear of a 17 game season. Well, technically, no
Hmm.
one has had a 17 game regular season, but almost every other professional NFL player has had at least a 16 game season.
Yeah.
And um, that's where I'm concerned. I don't think Trey Lance is going to play this. If I'm Kyle Shanahan, and of course, I'm not Kyle Shanahan. I'm not the head coach of the 49ers, one of the most successful franchises in the NFL. But there's no way in hell Trey Lance is seeing the field this year. I still put Nick Mullins in over him. You want to sit Trey Lance. You want to get him developed. I think you want to
Hmm.
get his sea legs. That's what this pick to me was all about. If they drafted Mac Jones, I'd agree with you 100%. Week 6, potentially coming in, having a different feel. I think he could come in and run this offense. I think Trey Lance, and you've seen the game film of Trey Lance. I'm not saying that he can't do it, but going from an FCS North Dakota State,
Yeah.
which is the powerhouse, and you're playing significantly weaker teams there, to going up against that Los Angeles Rams defense, and not playing a game in a year and correction, playing one game in a year and a half.
Yeah. No.
That's going to be, I don't know. I would not feel safe putting my number 3 pick, my future franchise quarterback Trey Lance out there.
But so for me, they sacrificed so much to get that pick. I mean, 3 future first rounders,
Yeah,
multiple late round picks.
I did. Yeah, I disagree with
Why?
that. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I think if you're going to do that, Trey Lance better work out, or else Kyle Shanahan is out. Because they're going to give up a guy like Jimmy G, who took them to a Super Bowl when he was healthy.
yeah.
Who his literally his biggest complaint over the course of his career is the fact that he cannot stay healthy. So, oh man, it's getting worse. But for me, if that's your guy, I said this before on the podcast. If that's your guy, go get him. Like if you think Trey Lance is the next big thing, go get him. I don't think he's that thing, but I do respect the fact that they went and they got him. And I think they traded up a little too early for that. I think they could have done it in the draft later.
Yeah.
But I mean, who knows? Like the whole ranking of this class totally depends upon Trey Lance. Like Justin Fields, like Mac Jones, like Trevor Lawrence, like Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
This whole class depends on Trey Lance.
Well, and that's the signature pick. If you trade up into the top 5, yeah, you're going to be judged based off your um, first overall pick, and so um, that's where to me it is a lot. And then at least Mac Jones has a year and a half, and it was with Alabama most recently at the
Hmm.
top of the well, won a national championship, facing the top of competition. Like
In
there's
a very complex offense.
in a very complex offense with the stepping stone kind of coming in into the NFL. There's going to be some grace periods. I don't know. It's like the next best thing, like the only comparison thing I think would be to have like to get an ace first round, like first overall pick MLB pitcher straight out of high school, or sorry, straight out of 1 year of junior college, and then
Hmm.
putting him in after a year and a half of not pitching in a simulated game uh,
Yeah, yeah,
against the Los Angeles Dodgers, so to say. So that's where to me it's like if you're putting him in that early, that's where I'm really concerned about his develop because if he's that guy over the next 15 years, then what's the difference of then sitting him and letting him develop and grow and developing him and seeing his weaknesses,
yeah,
developing his weaknesses over the next year and a half, 2 years. Like, why not? If you spend all that much, you want to make sure that this pick works, right? Don't just throw
yeah.
him into the fire.
For me, the latest that he plays is the start of next season. I
Yeah,
because Jimmy G's under contract until the end of this year, and then he's gone.
yeah, I agree as
And
well.
so,
Yeah,
but I think they may try and get something for him at the trade deadline. Not entirely sure what they'll get for him, considering his injury history. But he was a Super Bowl quarterback at a certain point. So
yeah, yeah. Well, I think he still is. I just think he's been hit by the injury bug. If he can stay healthy, I
mhm.
think he's got the talent there. So, but
But yeah, but other than that, I like the guard Aaron Banks from Notre Dame. I like the
yeah,
Trey Sermon pick. They don't really have a feature back. They got Jarek McKinnon from the Vikings a few years ago. He's been injured both years. They lost Raheem Mostert to. Did they lose him to the Jets? I don't know why I feel like he went to the Jets, but
I'm blanking on. I know what you're talking about though. Yeah,
so I think that's a good replacement pick. Trey Sermon had a lot of hype coming out of that national championship playoff, but and then we got another cornerback. I know the safety, Talanoa Hufanga from USC. Not entirely sure on his abilities, but I mean, when you draft a guy in the fifth and sixth round, you're just kind of just. We've said it before in the podcast. It's just traits you like, and then you hope they can develop some of the things that you don't like.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but
I was,
overall, I was gonna say for me. Sorry to interrupt, but
no, go
for
ahead.
me, I guess a B minus. I don't know. For me, Trey Lance is just the riskiest quarterback in the draft, and you gave up a lot to go get him. And I think if he doesn't work out, your franchise is bad for the next 5 years. So,
Well, so for me, I'll be a little bit more lenient because I give the benefit of the doubt when it comes to obviously the scouting because they're going to see things that I don't see obviously, and they know their
mhm.
system obviously significantly better than I do. I think so. I'll give them a B. It's also significantly from what I've seen. I don't know too much about their later picks. The gentleman that you just mentioned, I won't. Um, Attempt to pronounce his name. I apologize, sir. But the later picks, especially as all skill position players, their last three picks supposedly got really good grades for the value
Mhm.
that they had. Especially Elijah Mitchell. I will say I watched his bowl game from Louisiana Lafayette. I was very impressed, and I thought he did really well. And so that potentially have a double running back kind of combination with Trey Sermon and Elijah Mitchell. I think two kind of different running backs. Trey Sermon's a much bigger type physical running back, and Elijah Mitchell, if I'm remembering correctly, is a smaller, shiftier running back. So that could be a good dynamic over the next 4 or 5 years. Something similar that Kyle Shanahan likes, because when the Falcons went to the Super Bowl, they had Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman, two totally opposite backs, but their opposites complemented each other because if one couldn't do the other did something really well. And I think that
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
kind of what that combination can do. So,
Mhm.
but all in all, uh, 5 years from now, we could come back to this draft grade and say, hey, this draft was an A plus plus plus, or this was a D minus 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 because Trey Lance did not pan out. So
Yeah, I mean, it totally depends on whether Trey Lance works out or not.
yeah,
And so I hope he does. I don't want him to fail.
I
You gave up a lot for him. I mean, they really put all their chips on black on this one.
I'll say the same thing I said about Justin Fields. I hope he is extremely successful until the NFC Championship when they face the Falcons. But I will say, if I'm the GM, well, if I'm John Lynch, if I'm Kyle Shanahan, it's like you want Trey Lance to be successful. You see something in him and develop him. Don't rush him. He's not a finished product like a Peyton Manning, where like, all right, all he needs is reps, and then he's going to need to then he'll develop.
Yeah.
There are some significant issues of reading the field, going through his progressions. I would say he's got the arm strength, he's got the running capabilities that the NFL is trending towards. He's got all the pieces that are there, but I think it's the developmental pieces. I think the biggest adjustment, and that's where it's like, don't rush him. You traded up for him and traded the 3 first-round draft picks, like you said, for him. So for me, there's no rush.
Yeah, no. I don't think there's a rush either. I just think that they're going to want to get him snaps.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
I don't know.